Hello, today I'm going to show you how to replace a wood window sash balance in a circa 1950s double hung wooden window. So I want to start by saying I'm not a professional, I'm a homeowner, and I tried researching how to replace this particular type of window balance online on YouTube and Google. I couldn't find any videos, any instructions on how to do this. So I've just I started with this window over here, and I was able to get that done. So I need to replace the balance on this window. So I'm gonna kind of walk you through how to do that. All right, so what I found, I was gonna work on these windows and scrape them and paint them, and I saw this cable hanging out the side of the jamb here, and was able to, having no kind of background in this, I wondered how this mechanism worked. And like I said, I started doing some research online. I couldn't really find any documentation on this. I do want to give a shout out. There was one YouTube that I found by Brent Hull. It's called How to Restore a Historic Wooden Window Step by Step. He's a professional, I think in the Dallas, Texas area. And what he describes is a sash balance system that's about 100 years old, where there's like weights and ropes and pulleys that are connected to this window. And I kind of expected that's what I was going to find when I started taking things apart. That is not what I found, and that's why I wanted to make this video. All right, so I found that this cable here was, it appeared that there was like a pulley system inside the frame of the window, and it feels like this pulley, whatever's going on in here, wasn't working. So I decided that it was going to need to be replaced. So in order to kind of figure out like what kind of mechanism, what kind of sash balance mechanism I was dealing with here, like one thing, let me close this back up, drop this window down. So if you look inside the window framing here, you see this flat metal piece, and you can see it, kind of projects inside the entire casing here. So I figured in order to pull this out, I was probably going to need to remove both windows and some of the woodwork here, which is similar to what I found when I was looking up how to do this, but it was regarding the older window types with the balance and the rope pulleys. In order for me just to kind of verify what I was working with, I pulled off this trim right here. So you can see with these windows, there's these sash balances on either side of the window frame, here and here, and then here and here. This trim wood covers that up. So I pulled it off, and then I was able to look inside and see, that this was a self-contained sash balance. It wasn't there was no pulleys and weights and rope system in here. So that was a first clue that I was dealing with something different than what I was finding online and on YouTube. I will say, if you watch this video, there really is no reason for you to have to remove this trim, because you can remove and replace this sash balance without getting access in here. So this was a step that I took just to kind of see what I was working with, that if you watch this video, you won't necessarily need to take that step. All right, so in order to start with this project and get access to this balance that needs to be replaced, I've already done this, so you won't be able to see how to do it, but it's very straightforward. There's this trim that is on the right and left side of this window frame, and this is really just a piece of molding, but it keeps this lower sash in place. So you need to carefully remove this from the frame, and if yours is anything like mine, there's been multiple coats of paint on it. So what you're going to need is a good X-Acto knife, and start by cutting the paint lines around this sash stop in the window frame. And then you'll need a couple of pry bars, small pry bars, and what you'll do is you'll cut the paint lines, and then you're going to start, working a small pry bar and very gently starting to pry it out. I then use some pliers, some cutting pliers, to go and start cutting these finish nails, so I could very carefully pry this out without breaking this board here, this sash stop. And then ultimately, the last step is to get some good needle nose pliers and just pull those remaining pieces of nail out of the frame, because you need the frame to be clear of any obstructions so that you can pull this out. Right, so as I mentioned, I've already replaced the sash balance that was broken from this window here, and this is the part that I had removed. And so one of the things that you need to kind of pay attention to is look for the markings on the part itself. And I don't know if you can see here, there's a 6 right here near the nail hole marks. And you probably can't see it here, but just very lightly I see something that looked like it said Acme Sash. Well, this is probably the original manufacturer of this particular sash balance. But the key thing is you need to understand the weight of the pulley. So this is a 6, meaning this is a 6-pound pulley. And why that's important is when you go to get your replacement sash balance, this particular manufacturer, Primeline, makes them in 6, 8, and 10 pounds. So you want to make sure that you match the new one to the one that you're going to ultimately remove. So I found this at my local hardware store, and there's actually like some very good instructions on how to remove the old sash balance and how to replace it on this. So all right, so we've removed the wood sash stop on one side. There's no need to remove both sides, so that'll save you some time, right? So what you're gonna do once you remove the sash stop is you're gonna lift the lower sash, and then you're gonna pull it out. You can see that this side here, you can just pull it free of that side of the sash stop. Now you see that you have the cables going to the sash balance on either side of the window frame. So these are attached via nails to the lower corners of the window. So here's where this one is attached. And what you're gonna need to do is get some smaller flathead screwdrivers and just carefully pry this out of the corner. So when prying these out, I recommend starting like on the bottom, prying here, because you have a little more of a tab to work with to get your screwdriver blade underneath. And then what I found is, and there's tension on it, right? Because you got the cable going to it, so it's not going to be quite as easy as it looks. But if you can get the nail head exposed there, then you can grab your needle nose pliers and just pull the nail head out. It's like it's generally not in there too tight. And there's just one nail on the bottom, and then there's one on the side. Oh, that's an extra long nail. Okay, now I'm gonna work on getting this side nail. Now it's gonna be easier. It's not being held in by that lower nail. It's helpful to have somebody assist you and hold the window. As you can see with the tension on these pulleys, it wants to pull the window away from you while you're working on it. But yeah, you want to be really kind of careful pulling this out so you don't break the wood. And there you go, this one's free. And then just repeat for the other side. You saw me remove the left side cable I just removed the right side, and now I can lift this entire sash out and just put it aside. So this is the one that needs replacing. So this side here, you can see is still in good shape. It's still got a lot of good tension. It snaps back. This is the one that I needed to replace. It's no longer snapping back into place, and it's not functioning properly. The next step is you're going to need to remove the upper sash, and you can see there's this wood strip that divides the upper sash from the lower sash. It's called a parting bead, and it's actually just pressed into a channel in the frame. So you should just be able to pull it out, and I'll show you how to do it. You got to pull it out carefully. The problem is, and you can see is the issue here, is that it's been painted. This area's been painted, so you're going to have to break these seams here, these paint seams, in order to get this parting bead out. And this wood is very soft. I found it's very easy to like cut into the parting bead itself and into the frame, so you just have to be careful when you're kind of scoring this thing. And with the other one, I also had to go outside and remove the screen and then score the paint lines, because the exterior painting, they painted the channels and the parting beads. So I'm going to remove the window frame, and then I'm going to go outside and score the beads from the outside. So now we're on the exterior of this window, and I don't know if you can see, but there's been some heavy paint painted in this channel here, and this parting bead is definitely stuck because of all this paint that was done. But yeah, like I said, just kind of carefully score these paint lines. And again, this wood is like really soft, so it's easy to cut it into it. Okay, so that's probably as much as I want to do on this lower part, and then you have to drop this down as much as you can. Oh, I'm seeing it's broken on this side. Just kind of got to work it. I am noticing I'm probably going to have to replace this right side too, because I see there's a broken cable on this side.